And now, another episode of MMA Gossip with your boys.
Boom. We're live, baby. MMA Gossip, episode number 27. The boys are back. UFC Vegas 9 is on. UFC Fight Night 176. UFC on ESPN Plus 34, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This card basically has more names than fights on it. It's a pretty small fight card. I think there's only 10 fights. So you guys know what to do. The usual. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on our socials at MMA Gossip. We're going off there, boys. Sean O'Malley's reposting us. Austin Vanderford's reposting us. All the boys. So follow us there. Instagram, Twitter, Gmail, whole fucking nine. Mike is about to review the poopy Rakic versus Anthony Smith card. I think that's it. We're just going to get right into it.
All right, let's go. Mallory Martin beats Hannah Cyphers in the second round. Rear naked choke. Quite the comeback. Polyana Viana dismantles Emily Whitmire, sends her to 4-4. She sucks. Sean Brady beats Kristen Aguilar inside the distance. Let's go. Alex Caceres beats Austin Springer. Jesus Christ. Zach Cumming arguably won the fight with the last second left in the third round. Wow. Alessio Di Chirico. Come on, bro. Impa Kasangane defeats the ever-poopy Maki Pitolo. Ricardo Lamas wins a great veteran win, third round, 10-8 over Bill Algeo. Great fight. Alexa Grasso beats Ji-Yoon Kim. Neil Magny basically sends Robbie Lawler into retirement, even though I don't think he will retire. And Rakic wrestles Anthony Smith for 3 rounds and wins a very lopsided decision. Anything to discuss, boys?
Lawler, unfortunately, I said it to you guys before, even if he, somehow pulled out a spectacular knockout in that third round, retire, bud.
Dude, yeah. And I'm as big of a Lawler fan as they come, and that will be the absolute last time I bet on him, which means he's going to fight again. He's going to win by knockout in the first round. But that being said, the only thing I will say from a matchmaking –
on my line.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say from a matchmaking perspective – let's get the shirt in here a little bit – is at this point, we know what Robbie Lawler is. He's a fan favorite, household name, UFC vet. I almost wish the UFC would stop having him fight all these grapple-heavy guys. Just give him fan fights, dude. Put him in there with somebody that's going to stand and bang with him. No more Colby Covingtons. No more Neil Magny's. Put in there with some guy that just wants to throw fucking hands and let it be a fun fight. Because I think I speak for the majority when I say I'm tired of watching Robbie Lawler just get ragdolled in the wrestling department, because that's all he's pretty much done his last couple outings. RDA, everybody. Literally everybody just wrestle fucks him. Tired of seeing it, because I still think he does have some juice left in the tank for a brawl. But in terms of all this grappling, it's nonsense. Give him if he's going to fight again, give him somebody fun.
Honestly, Colby set a record for significant strikes against him. So it's not even a grappling, dude. He just is not pulling the trigger at all. And I think that's a total sign that he just doesn't have it anymore. I tweeted that all MMA fans are always going to be, indebted in perpetuity to Robbie Lawler for the fights he put on for us and the wars he gave us and the shows and the entertainment. But right now, what is he, 38 years old, I think we were saying, right? He's just too much, man. He's been a professional since 2001. But again, I said the same thing with JDS. Who the fuck am I to tell him to retire? It's not like he's getting brutally finished, dude. He's just losing fights. You know what I mean? Not pulling the trigger and losing fights. So we'll see. And then main event, the only thing I got to say on that was good for Rakic. He proved me wrong, I guess, cardio-wise. It wasn't too much of a performance. Anthony Smith kind of shit the bed, just didn't show up. And Rakic, I think Jerry, however the fuck you want to say it, I think that would be a perfect matchup going forward. Or the loser of the title fight would be a good matchup also. Jan or Reyes, whoever loses that fight would be a good matchup. See where he's at. Good measuring stick for him.
As for Anthony Smith, I'm sure you guys have heard he was already talking about how Rakic felt like just an all-around bigger man in there. So he's already thinking about a move back to middleweight. I get when you change your weight class the first time, but these guys that bounce back and forth, I think it's attributed more to them just not being that fucking good. I think that their style, and we talked about this last week with Anthony Smith, he just had heart. very like slightly above average boxing, but it was really just his heart and grit that got him by. In like any other fighter that happens to, you could say that about RDA. There's a lot of guys. I think the game has just passed them up. You see them slowly start to bounce and forth, back and forth between weight classes to find their home. And I don't think it's a weight issue. I just think it's a talent issue. Go back down. He'll get fights. I'm sure he will get fights, but he's not going to be in any more contention at 185 that he is at 205. So.
All great points, boys. Love listening to you guys. I'm cool with just being the guy to move the show forward. I can just listen to you guys all day. All right, you guys ready to break down UFC Vegas 9?
Ready.
All
yeah, pumped.
I already put in like probably 7 or 8 bets, so I'm just going to rattle them off as soon as we get to them. So Brian Kelleher, I think this might not be the first fight on the card, but it's just became official. Now. Is it the first fight on the card?
So I think it is. I saw it listed as such in multiple places.
All right, so let's just go over that real quick. So we got Brian Kelleher was supposed to fight Ricky Simone. Simone dropped out with COVID or dude who I don't even give a shit anymore. Anyway, replacement fighter Kevin Natividad coming up from the LFA just fought, I think, July 20th. I think Kelleher is about minus 225 to Kevin Natividad's plus 170. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Kelleher here. I didn't get to do as much due diligence on Natividad as I should have. I'm sorry, guys. It's just last minute, still working the whole shit. But, Brian Kelleher by now, household name. He's game as fuck. He's going to come in there. He's got a great guillotine that he uses from time to time. But his strength is definitely with his stand-up. And even though we have seen success with a lot of guys coming out of regional circuits on like almost a week's notice in some cases that have looked awesome, it's actually been a weird narrative. Guys that are coming out of other promotions and fighting on short notice, I would like to look into this more, have been doing better than guys in the UFC that are fighting on short notice. It's been weird. Granted, they're not all coming up fighting a guy like Brian Kelleher, who's, he's no slouch at all, so I'm not going to take him here. That being said, though, Brian Kelleher seems to fight to the level of his opponent a lot, for better or worse, depending on who he's fighting. So just by that narrative alone, I wouldn't be shocked if the fight was closer than the odds would suggest. Still going Kelleher. He owes us a visit on the podcast, so you bet your ass we're going to be reaching back out as soon as he pulls off this dub. Chris?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going Kelleher here all the way. UFC vet, this is his 10th UFC fight, and it seems like he's still relatively new. Like every time I see him fight, I'm like, he's a vet, but holy shit, this is literally his 10th UFC fight. That's pretty fucking impressive. Good for him. He's been active. Kevin Natividad, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. He's got a couple good wins in LFA and Combate. He beat Erwin Rivera, and I know we've spoken pretty highly of Erwin Rivera on this podcast. It looked pretty good. I think it was against Giga Chikadze that he lost a fight against, I believe. And we said he would come back and look good, and he did come back and look good in the UFC. But Kevin Natividad, or Natividad, I'm not sure how to say it. His nickname is Quicksand, and he tries to bring people into deeper waters and kind of drown them out in the later rounds. And Kelleher has great cardio, and I don't see that being an issue. I think that Cody Stamann couldn't do it to Kelleher, and I don't see a UFC newcomer doing it. So Kelleher.
Yeah, Kelleher all the way here. I mean, Natividad, he's got that Hawaiian spirit. He's tough as fuck, and he does. The farther the fight goes on, he does seem to wear down his opponents, and I'll give him that, man. He's got that rock solid willpower to win. But so does Kelleher, man. I mean, when you watch Kelleher fight Stamann in their last fight, in that third round, it was Kelleher who was like kind of ramping it up because he knew he was losing. So I'll give him mad props there. And he's just been on such a confidence spree ever since 2020 started. This is his 4th fight. He's 2-1 going into this fight. He's probably gonna be 3-1. He's got that confidence riding behind him, and I think it's gonna be a brawl. I really do think it's gonna be a great fight. I don't think Kelleher is gonna get knocked out. I don't think Natividad is gonna get knocked out, but I do expect like a fight of the night kind of performance from both guys. So I'm going with Kelleher. Up next, we got Cole Smith, big underdog to Hunter Azure. He's about minus 225 as well. About the same odds. Previous Kelleher opponent actually just got knocked out by Kelleher very recently, about in June. So it's a quick turnaround for such a vicious knockout. Matt?
Yeah, so with this fight, I was all over Azur in the first fight in his first fight against not first fight, first UFC debut, I believe, against Kelleher. He looked great. He looked fucking awesome until he didn't. He gassed out in the second round. As we just said, Kelleher is always game. He stays in it to the end, and he put one on Azur's chin, knocked him out cold. I don't like how recent that knockout is, and I do think Cole Smith is actually a live dog here. He's coming off a year layoff, but he did have his first UFC fight was a solid showing against not a big prospect, but a relatively solid one in Miles John. I think Azur's leg kicks are going to play huge here. He goes to the well with that a lot, but it seems to work for him. He's got a solid background in wrestling. He was actually a high school wrestling champ. Because of injuries, he moved more into MMA. It's hard to gauge this fight just because Azur is coming off a knockout. His cardio didn't hold up really at all. Like, he was gassed in the second round, but who knows what Cole Smith's been doing for a year. I'm going to take Azur. I'm probably not a large bet here. I wouldn't parlay this anywhere at all. This pretty low level. Cole Smith got a solid background in Muay Thai, so he's like I mentioned, the leg kicks. Guy in Muay Thai, that's all they do is condition their shins. Should be able to withstand them. There's a lot playing into this fight. Cole Smith is definitely a live dog given the odds, but I'm gonna go Azur here. Not expecting much though. Chris.
I agree with you. I'm not going to reiterate everything you just said on Cole Smith and Hunter Zerr. Just a couple things I would add. I am going to Zerr here as well. He was the favorite, I believe, over Kelleher, correct? And Kelleher kind of put it on him. Yes, it is a little soon, and that does worry me a little bit. But he's pretty good. He's a well-rounded guy. He won on the Contender Series. He's got a win over Bragatona, who the UFC released, but he was a tough winner. So, like I said, just a couple more things to throw on top of Azur, just to kind of put the bullet point on why I'm picking him, basically. These guys are both, 7-1, 8-1, kind of lower level competition, more so on Cole Smith's side than Azur's side. But I'm going to ride with Azur here in his sophomore fight, and I'm going to take him at minus 225. Not betting any chalk on it.
Yeah, I agree with Asher. I do agree that, Matt, I think the line is a little bit wonky. I do think there's a little bit of value on Smith, but I got to go with Asher because in that last fight, he was throwing everything into every single punch against Kelleher, and that's not what you do against Kelleher. It's not the way to beat him. And you're right, he got gassed in that second round. He kept getting hit with that left hook by Kelleher. His hands kept dropping, and he kept getting hit with it, and eventually one of those left hooks put him out. And I think that's like a very eye-opening fight for him. He's going to realize he did so many things wrong in that fight. His fight IQ he looked very green in that fight. Even though he was such a massive favorite. So props to Keller for getting that win, but I think Azur's going to come back much smarter. Cole Smith is not a power puncher. He's a grapple-heavy guy, and I think their grappling is probably going to cancel out, and then Azur's going to win lopsided decision, in my opinion. All right, we got next one, Montana De La Rosa, plus 145, going up against Vivian Araujo, minus 190. Matt?
I'm actually going to go De La Rosa here. I know, Mike, we were talking about this fight earlier. I think she has a clear path to victory here. It's kind of clash of styles to get Viviani, whatever. She likes to stand. She's fuck me, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. I'm just looking through my notes really quick. So she went on a little bit of a run. Then she ran into Jessica Ai, and you immediately saw the gap of talent between the two. She had a solid first round, and then Pena, my God, I'm such a mess today. And Jessica Ai just slowly started to wear on her. And you kind of saw that Viviani's striking isn't that great. It's probably more attributed to just the lack of talent in that division that propelled her into the top 10. That being said, at the same time, Montana, I think, has made great strides from her days of losing to Cynthia Calvillo and Mackenzie Dern. She gets visibly better in every fight, in my opinion. Striking's getting better, great cardio.
Hold on, Matt. You're crushing it right now. It's all the things I was going to say. Keep going.
All right, perfect. But the thing that scares me with this fight is Viviani is yet to be taken down in her UFC career. And I think that's how Montana is going to win this fight, is if she pushes the pace, gets in her face, makes it ugly, drags her she's really strong for the division too, and drags her to the ground. I think as long as this fight isn't on the feet for 15 minutes, it's Montana's to lose. She's got to mix it up. Got to make it a mixed martial arts fight, not a kickboxing fight, and she should be just fine. Chris?
I'm with you, dude, especially because Montana's only 25 years old, I believe. So she's got, she's making strides in between every fight. And when you're that young, you just get better, exponentially better in not that much time, where Viviane is 33 years old, kind of. That's getting up there in MMA years. I know she's only 8-2, so maybe she's a little green in MMA. And did want to mention Matt, great fucking points all around. Just a couple things I want to touch on. When she did lose to Jessica I missed weight by I think 5 pounds, which is definitely something to note. So that's, she fought a bantamweight at flyweight, you know what I mean? So that'll fucking happen. Montana too, like you said, the Dern and Calvillo losses. I think she lost to Chikagan maybe back in the day, but those are just losses to women's elite level competition. I mean, I guess it's called Dern elite, but you know where I'm getting at with this. She kind of just loses to. She's 11-5, but she kind of only loses to upper echelon fighters, and I don't see Viviane being one of them. Although she is a slight favorite, I'll play plus money on Montana in this fight for sure. This is number 12 versus number 15. And Montana, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm on Montana as well. Let's go. I just think that her grappling is very, very impressive, man. She took KGB Lee down 11 times. And, KGB's no slouch, obviously. She lost that fight mostly due to the striking department. But, she came back super strong after that fight and beat the hell out of Mara Romero Barella. So I think she's riding hot here. I think that Viviana looked a little scared against Jessica Ai. Like you said, as soon as she's faced that step up in competition, she just kind of looked timid in there, as opposed to her prior performances in the UFC. So I think Montana, even though she's 25, she's been fighting since she was 16. She's married to Mark De La Rosa. They're training together. I just think this is her fight to lose, and I'm not sure why the line is what it is, but I really think that Montana is going to take this, and obviously I got to play here. All right, guys, I think I skipped a fight. That's my fault. Alex,
I just didn't know if you had it in different order or not.
No, that was totally my fault. I just skimmed up the browser and I just fucked that up. Marcos Rogerio de Lima. It's a pick'em fight going up against UFC newcomer, highly touted, was supposed to fight a while ago, Alexander Romanov. Matt.
If we went through this whole podcast and we never talked about this fight, I swear to God I wouldn't.
I've seen them just listed differently on Tapology, Sherdog, UFC, ESPN, everywhere. These fights in different fucking orders.
We talk about this every week. It's just because there's half these cards are just not
right. But even today, so more than usual, I found them all over the place.
Yeah, dude, so you guys, Chris actually had to call us before to figure out if Menafield was fighting OSP this weekend. These UFC cards, and I'm not knocking them at all because they're doing the damn thing. Dana's just such a savage. We don't even know who's fighting usually up until the day before with some of these guys. It's crazy. And obviously all the major outlets can't get on the same page because they don't even know. When ESPN doesn't know, that's when you know that all right, this is real last minute. We're winging it. But you know what? I'm here for it. You guys should be too. There is no way on God's green earth I'm ever betting money on Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Romanov is huge. He has to cut weight to make heavyweight. De Lima is a former light heavyweight. That's
middleweight.
Basically all middleweight. Yeah, well, there you go. But Marcos is a one-trick pony. He's a kickboxer, throws a lot of light kicks, but really, unless he's hitting you with his overhand like he just did to Ben Sassoli, he's not winning the fight. Romanov has he's highly touted, as Mike said, but I dug some digging into him, and he literally, there was a lot of guys that he fought that at the time he fought them, they didn't even have Tapology pages. His level of competition is like bar fights. That being said, I do not really I don't think that makes much of a difference in this fight. He's got 11 wins, all by finish, 5 by TKO/KO, 6 by sub. And 4 of Marcos's losses have come by submission. So I expect Romanov to go in there, impose his size, impose his will, drop Marco on his back, and either grind him out, ground and pound, or sub him. Marco sucks. Romanov. Chris.
It's a level of competition is bar fights. Yeah, Eagles championship isn't quite the best promotion in the entire world, but he's 11-0. Talk about Romanov here, and I believe he came in as a favorite over. Was it Marcin Tiburi who was supposed to fight? And I think he came in as a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was Marcin Tiburi who's supposed to fight was the favorite. So how you're not the favorite over Marcos Rogerio de Lima, I don't know. Matt, I thought you were going to touch on this because this is always your term. He is a win one, lose one fighter. And going back to 2014, he is exactly win-loss, 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 win-loss to 2014. won over Ben Sassoli last time, so I'm going to ride with Rogerio de Lima getting the L and ride with Romanov as well, which means if Mike picks Romanov as well, based on his facial expressions, the entire card, we've all have the same fights.
Yeah,
Same
fuck
picks.
De Lima, dude. I'm going Romanov here, man. He looks a lot better on his Instagram. He's like a tubby guy, but if you look at his frame, bro, he's huge. He's just a guy with a lot of mass, and he comes out like a fireball for like he's got like a full 5 minutes of cardio, like 100% cardio, and then he's just gassed. But like if you look at his 11 wins, I think like 9 or 10 of them are done in the first round. And that one fight that he went to the third round, I watched it and he won, obviously, but he was fucking exhausted. So I'm taking under 1.5 in this fight. That's what bet I already took. And obviously I'm taking money line on Alexander. So here we go.
So maybe it's worth a sprinkle Rogerio de Lima, like the over. I don't know. Matt would probably fucking figure it out.
If I'm going to sprinkle anything in this fight, I would look at the odds for Marcos first round knockout. That's as much as I'll give him. I don't trust his cardio to be knocking out anybody, especially a guy that's bigger than him later in the first round.
Yeah. Fuck him.
I mean, the under's definitely an overall. The under would definitely be a play from both fighters' perspective, but I got to see the odds first.
Yeah, I got the under 1.5. I think it was like minus 120, something like that. I was like, I'll take it because I'm telling you, he's coming out 1,000% as hard as he possibly can, trying to take De Lima out. It's either he goes out or De Lima goes out. So I'll take that. Bartosz Fabinski. This is but like maybe the worst matchmaking ever. Bartosz Fabinski, slight. I think he favorite. Really?
Minus 145
over.
Muniz
Muniz?
plus
Okay,
125.
yeah, that's right. You're right. Andre Muniz, slight underdog to Bartosz Fabinski. Matt?
I'm going Muniz here solely because Fabinski sucks. Like, he's been in the UFC longer, definitely has faced better competition. But, like, he's just nothing special to me at all, especially from a betting perspective. He's just not a guy you like to have money on. I don't think he has one finish since he's been in the UFC. I think we're going to just see a similar outcome to the Prazeres fight where he got subbed. Munoz 1-0 in the UFC. 12 of his 19 wins have come by sub, so it's clear where he wants to fight. And I haven't seen anything out of Fabinski's grappling that tells me that he can't prevent it from getting there. Yeah, definitely Muniz here. I'll probably find some first, maybe second round submission bets because I don't think this is going all three. Chris?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Well, at least with Matt, probably with Mike again. I'm Muniz here. The reason being, like Matt said, 19-4, 12 submission wins out of those 19. Two-time Contender Series vet, I guess you'd say. And he has 4 losses. They're all by knockout. And I don't see Fabinski being able to knock him out in this fight. 34 years old, fought 3 times since 2015. It's just totally inactive. You have a win over Darren the Dentist Stewart, who's, let's just be real, guys, not that good. Inactivity, and he's going to come in here super grapple heavy, take Muniz down, and I think that's going to be where Muniz always wants to be, and I see him having a lot of success there, and probably either getting a sub or riding it out and winning a decision.
Over under 3 seconds, Bartos goes first, a takedown. That's all. I swear, dude, he comes out in the first round and he just goes for the takedown in every single fight. Everybody knows his game plan. I don't know how you can pick against Muniz in this situation, man. He's a specialist. He's a ground guy, So, like, if the fight is on the ground for 15 minutes, Muniz is going to be okay with that, even if he's on his back. So I'll go with Muniz throwing up submissions for 15 minutes against Bartos for sure. Now, I personally am not placing a bet on this fight for the off chance that Bartos does just lay on him for 15 minutes, but my pick is definitely going to be Muniz. All right, here we go. Michelle Pereira. Michelle, low fight IQ Pereira. Oh, excuse me. Thiago Moises. I'm sorry. Thiago Moises. The favorite, actually, pretty big favorite over Jalen Turner. I'm surprised at this line. Jalen's like a plus 160 right now. Matt?
I think that I was wondering the same thing. I think it's just because Thiago is coming off of a finish win over Michael Johnson. I mean, that's the only sense I can make of it. But I do like Thiago a lot. I even like him in this fight. He gets a lot of credit for his jits, but he's got some pretty sneaky stand-up too. But, Turner is a really fucking long guy, and against a guy that's as touted with jiu-jitsu as – I knew you were going to laugh. That's as
Every fucking podcast, Matt says someone's a really long guy. I just think it's every single episode. I should just make a clip.
He's 9-5, but with his size, he should be such a problem for this division. But he's only 2-2 in the UFC. He's comes from a boxing background. He finishes in all 9 of his victories. Granted, he did come into the UFC. It was short notice against Luke K, which, UFC's doing you no favors with that at fucking all. But a guy is, I'm going to say it again, as long as he is, I just see him just being able to snatch up any of those limbs, get his arms around his neck, and finish this fight. We really haven't seen, not into my memory, I guess Favola was the only one to really grind with Turner, but we really haven't seen Turner in deep water with somebody that's going to grapple like Thiago's going to. And you guys know my MO. I have a hard time fading somebody that's going to try to do that, especially against a guy that is strictly a stand-up fighter. As good as his stand-up is, and he's going to be the bigger guy, I don't trust it for 3 rounds at all. I'm actually excited for this fight. I think this might be the best fight on the card, honestly. Just like looking at it real quick. It's probably the best fight on the card, in my opinion. We're either going to see a prospect take a big step and beat somebody that just had probably the biggest win of his career, or we're going to see Moises do more of what he does. Turner's definitely a live dog here. I'm surprised, though, because the money is actually moving towards Thiago. I think Turner opened at 140, and he's up to 170 now. But, I'm going to go Thiago here. It's tentative because Turner is a huge threat to finish the fight at any time. But going Moises here. Chris?
I did not know that. I have on my sheet Turner at plus 145, so plus 170. Damn, that line even blew up even more. But I think Turner's got, like Matt said, how the fuck is this dude a lightweight? He's 6'3" at least. That's insane. He has a 7-inch reach, which I think is definitely worth talking about because Moises is not a tall guy. He's gonna be throwing kicks and Jalen Turner's gonna be hitting him with punches. Moises looked bad against Michael Johnson in the first round. He was getting the shit beat out of him by Michael Johnson. And then Michael Johnson does what Michael Johnson does and absolutely folds in the second round. With Moises definitely has fought some UFC/Bellator level competition. He's lost to Jason Knight. He lost to Beneil Dariush as well. But since MMA math is always accurate, he has a win over Zach Freeman, who has a win over Aaron Pico, who is one of the most highly touted prospects in Bellator. So basically, Thiago Moises should go to Bellator and be the face of Bellator, is what MMA math says. But I'm going to ride with Jalen Turner actually on this one. He's 25 years old. He's going to be, it seems like the UFC is really trying to give him a push. I just think that 7-inch reach advantage is really going to come into play here, and hopefully he fucking uses it. If he keeps good distance, and if he does that here, I totally see it paying off. Moises is not. Like Matt said, his stand-up is sneakily good, but I think that Jalen Turner's is better, and the 7-inch reach advantage is just going to only multiply that. And he's plus money at 170. I would ride with Turner at plus money 170. Maybe lay a little bet on that.
I'm on Turner as well. I think it was just alarming how bad he looked against Michael Johnson in that first round. It was very alarming. He was a very big favorite in that fight, and I took him in that fight. I remember, Chris, you took Michael Johnson in that fight. And I was like, after the first round, I'm like, damn, I lost. It's over, man. And then he just comes out and gets that submission. Granted, that's good and bad because it's bad because you let yourself get the shit beat out of you for 5 minutes, but it's also good because you found a way to adjust in the second round. Jalen Turner, people don't know, he is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying he's on Moises' level, but the way that he looked against Joshua Kulabau in his last fight, I know Joshua Kulabau is a nobody, but he is a ground guy, and Jalen Turner was able to just get the half guard and just beat the shit out of him for a lot of the fight. So I think that he knows what he's getting himself into. He's very athletic. I think he's going to find his stride, henceforth, and beat Thiago Moises on Saturday. And I got 2 plays on this. I got the under 2.5, and I got Jalen Turner straight up. I think
I'm switching my pick. I'm going with Turner. You guys convince me, dude, because I want to go with him because I do think he's better. I just get so nervous with these guys that have this good of grappling but he's just so much fucking bigger, and he honestly just might be able to just out athletic him, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Chris.
heard this clip here first. If Jalen Turner loses and you blame me and Mike, I'm clipping this and pinning it on Twitter.
And you know I'm going to too.
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah. So, okay, my last point was just like under 2.5, if Jalen loses, I'm assuming he gets submitted. And under 2.5, if Jalen wins, I think he can knock out Moises. So, there we go. Michelle Pereira, ever so slight favorite over Zalim Imadaev. Matt.
This guy is the bane of my existence. He is number one asshole. He gasses himself doing backflips onto people that are laying on the ground. Like, I've never – it's fun for like 30 seconds until you realize if he's not jumping off the cage like it's WWE, he's not that good. I literally feel like I have to go Imadaev.
Dude, I hate you, Matt. I fucking hate you, dude. I had that cocked and ready because I knew you were ready for that.
I'm pretty sure he's 0-2 in the UFC, but the thing is with Pereira, I can't get myself to bet a guy that literally doesn't seem to care about winning. He just looks like he wants to go in there and put on a spectacle, which I respect it and I get, but my money's on the line. And I like this isn't the Olympics where you're fucking doing backflips and shit. I don't know what kind of fighter he really is. He's explosive, he hits hard, but outside of him finishing people in the first round with something ridiculous, I haven't seen much out of him. It's going to be a fun fight, but I'll go Pereira. This is the last time I'm doing this. Zalim, he's coming off of a knockout loss. He's probably going to get knocked out again. He's 0-2 in the UFC. Like, at least I've seen Pereira win, I guess. Like, who did he fight last? This guy looked like he was pulled off of the main streets of Dublin with a beer in his hand and said, yo, fight this guy and get knocked out. And then he ended up winning solely because he was a dog and able to get out of the first round.
And don't forget Diego Sanchez.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. Oh, my God. I forgot that he fucking lost to Diego Sanchez. I'll go Pereira here. I feel like the UFC wants him to win. Hopefully he does. Yeah, Pereira, sure.
Yeah, okay.
All right, in his defense, Diego was a huge bitch in that fight. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically took the easy way out. I don't remember. Wasn't he winning that? Who was winning that fight?
He was destroying Diego. Dude, you remember that was the bet of the century. It was like Diego, yeah. Pereira was like a super slight favorite over Diego. And I was like, what? And then everybody and their mothers got on him. And then in the third round, he throws an illegal knee, man. This fight is the battle who has the less fight IQ. Both these guys are just like make stupid decisions in the cage.
Yeah. And then the other guy I referenced was Tristan Connolly. That was my Irish reference because of the last name Connolly. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. Chris.
Yeah, like you said, you gave Pereira credit because I don't even think that idiot his cardio could last till he gets into the octagon. He gasses out in this fucking walkout. Man, this fight, I hate this fight. I hate it. Both these guys have, like as Mike said, really low fight IQ. MMA math says that Pereira is going to win because of his win over Danny Roberts, where Danny Roberts beat Imadaev. But also, which is kind of funny, is you see Imadaev, right? And he's from Moscow, Russia. So it's like, oh, wow, he's going to be super grappling heavy. He probably has a ton of submission wins. All of his wins are by TKO. Punches, spinning back fists, the whole nine. I just think that Pereira is, I guess, I'm not laying any wood on this, but I'm going with Pereira. 23-11, ton of experience. Seems like Imadaev is inexperienced and has bad fight IQ. That just seems like a recipe for disaster, especially 0-2 in the UFC. Pereira, I guess. I'm with Matt. This will be the last time.
Last time.
I guess it's my last time too, man. Dude, Amadaev, like he rushes in with his hands at his waist, and that's why he got knocked out by Danny Roberts, man. And he gets gassed too, man. And like you look at him, it's like, all right, he's like one of those Russian guys with the Dagestani chin beard. He's gonna be scary and shit. Dude, he got taken down 9 times by Max Griffin. 9 times by Max Griffin, and then he goes out against Danny Roberts and just is like, all right, let me just fight with my hands down, and then get knocked out, man. It was just like you were undefeated, big prospect coming over from M1 Global, and you just like look like shit. So I'm gonna go with Pereira to conserve his gas tank like he did against Diego, but not throw an illegal knee like he did against Diego, and win this fight somewhere inside the distance. I'm assuming because Imadaev's gonna get tired and put his hands down to his waist. So going with that. Sijara Eubanks. Slight underdog, plus 115, going against Carol Osa.
Kill me.
Matt looks oh, there you are. All right, go ahead, Matt.
Hold on.
You all right, dude?
You guys hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my internet's being fucky today. Dude, these fights are just fucking impossible. Please give me a pay-per-view at this point, just with somebody on it that has a pulse. Sarah Eubanks, I mean, she's 5-4, highly decorated in jiu-jitsu. Pretty sure she jiu-jitsu won several medals as a jiu-jitsu world champ. She's not that great of a striker at all. Great takedown defense. She's a grappler. That's what I'm getting at here. I'm not going to overanalyze this fight. 5-4 overall, but she is 3-2 in the UFC, so that's where most of her wins have come. Surprisingly, Rose is 13-3. Definitely better in the stand-up department. I'm going with her here just because I can't get myself to bet on Eubanks because I do not think she's that good. I don't think she's a mixed martial artist. I think she's a jiu-jitsu player. Definitely has the edge on the ground and in the clinch, but I think Rosa is just going to be more aggressive. I think she's the more polished striker of the two, and I think she has a higher rate of finish. And, I mean, the fight's close on paper, but I think Rosa keeps her distance from Eubanks, pieces her up, and separates herself. Because I kind of think these odds should be bigger than what they are. The line's almost even. But yeah, I'm going Rosa here. Chris?
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. So for some reason, I know I said this about someone else on the podcast before. I just don't like Sijara Eubanks at all. Whenever she fights, I think of that like duck from South Park. That's like, kill me.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's great.
You know, I just like, kill me. Like, it's just like, dude, it's not the fight I'm looking forward to. I know I take that back. It's not a diss to her. She's tough as fuck. I remember on The Ultimate Fighter, she shaved her fucking head to make weight, she didn't shave her head, but she cut her hair off to make weight. Huge lesbian, by the way. Hey, 2020, nothing wrong with that. I remember she saying like her girlfriend was gonna be pissed at her or something. So I just thought that was something to mention. But she's always good to pull out last minute. She's always good to miss weight. So, you know, there's something. That's why the kill me comes in. There's always something up her sleeve. Carol Host, on the other hand, 13-3, 30-26, Vanessa Mello, big time in her last fight. Looked really good doing it. I think she was supposed to fight Julia Avila, and that fell through, I think, 4 times. They're trying to make that fight. So that's like Tony Habib 2.0 right there. It looks like they're just trying to give her a bigger fight, and they ended up with Sijara Eubanks. Sarge is ranked. I'm not sure if that's flyweight or bantamweight, what the fuck she's ranked at. But anyway, I think that they're giving Hosa a little bit of somewhat of a bone here with like a name, you know, Sijara Eubanks was supposed to be in the tough finale, and I think she fucking missed weight and pulled out, and Roxana Modafferi got her shot and lost terribly to Nico Montano, who is now fighting Julia Avila, fun fact. But, yeah, Carol Hosa, basically.
Yeah, Carol Hosa. I do think that she wins. I agree, Matt. I think there's value on that line as well. The only thing that concerns me is that, you know, Hosa getting taken down and controlled for a portion of the fight. But in terms of cardio, Hosa's got it, you know, and Sijara gets gassed as the fight goes on. So if anything, bet Hosa live after round 1 and see what the odds are. But I do think Hosa wins this fight clearly at least rounds 2 and 3. Okay. Go ahead.
Let me jump in real quick. So next fight, I'm just going to steal your job for 1 second.
Go ahead.
Is OSP and Alonzo Menafield, co-main event. What you guys should all do is like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go to last week's video where we broke this fight down. That's what you guys should be doing. If you're listening to this now, please go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I guess let's be quick about this. Let's just make picks.
Yeah. Unless your pick changed, or if you have anything further than last week, like just add on to it.
I honestly don't remember who I picked, so I'm just gonna use, I guess, pick. I'm fucking going Manifield. I hate OSP. I can't get myself to bet on him. I'm always. We went over this last week. I'm always, no matter what, on the wrong side of this guy's fights. So whatever I do, just fade me because I don't see that trend ending. It's a matter of this. Is OSP going to use his veteran savvy and tire out Manifield's gigantic arms and not get cracked in the head with something? Or is he going to try to stand and bang with him and get knocked out? Remains to be seen. I'm going Manifield solely because I literally couldn't trust OSP with anything. Chris?
One more thing I wanted to mention: sponsors. Again, we have none. Help us out. My Beats headphones that I got in high school are falling apart. So help the boys out. We can't afford headphones. But with that being said, my usual tagline that Matt stole from me, I'm doing the same thing I did last week. I took OSP last week with his vet savvy. I ran down the list of everyone who's fought. Again, go check out that fucking episode. And I just think that with all the people he's fought, he's proven himself. He went 5 rounds with John Jones. That's invaluable experience. His last fight, he looked like dog shit. I think it was Ben Rothwell at heavyweight. I mean, what the fuck did you expect? OSP got off his couch and took that fight and still went, 15 minutes. So I think here, Menafield did gas, lost to Devin Clark. Not too good. But honestly, this fight is tailor-made for Menafield to go in there and finish OSP. OSP has been known to shit the bed. So I wouldn't doubt him doing it here. But I'm going to ride with OSP on this one, just like I did last week.
Yeah, I'm running with Menafield just like I did last time. But the one thing I have to say that's different about this particular bout 2 weeks later is that, OSP cuts a lot of weight. We know that. He's a big guy. And he cut weight, made weight, 205, and then didn't get the fight. And 2 weeks later, he's cutting weight again to make 205. I'm worried about, it's not his cardio. I'm worried about his health at this point. Like, can he sustain that kind of weight cut for this long of a period of time? Because it's like, if you reschedule the fight 2 weeks later, you're not going to balloon up and eat whatever the fuck you want. You still have to maintain a rigorous diet. And obviously, he cuts a fuck ton of weight to get 205. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Menafield, obviously he's shredded, but he is a normal sized 205 pounder, and as opposed to OSP, who I think is like massive. So I just think that Menafield has the
normal size. That's what is alien.
Imagine calling Menafield normal sized.
He's meant for 205, put it that way. And I'm just going to ride with Menafield just like I did 2 weeks ago. Main event.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun. Augusto Sakai should be 2-2 in the UFC. We'll get to that. 4-0 in the UFC. Slight underdog going up against not Overeem, used to be Overeem, Alistar Overeem, 4 years old. Matt, there's the talk, dude.
That's how I feel about the main event.
Go ahead, Matt.
This fight is just brutal. I feel so bad saying this shit because, I'm going to watch this whole card. But, if I'm staying up to watch a main event, I'd rather not be watching Augusto Saki in his milk body. But I'm going to go Overeem here, even though he's, as I said to Chris and Mike earlier, one punch away from his grave. He seems to have found a way to victory, kind of like Arlovsky, where he grinds his opponents and realizes that he doesn't have the chin to stand and bang anymore. And Saki's literally nothing special at all. He's a boxing background. He's got power, but he's not fast. He's a very slow moving guy, and I think that Overeem is going to be wise to everything he's going to do. He doesn't bring anything to the table besides normal heavyweight power. That's it. He does nothing that sticks out that says, all right, even though Overeem is shot, he still can win this fight. He's a favorite, I believe, for a reason. I think close to minus 170. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go Overeem here. I was kidding during the week when I said I was going to bet Augusto. I expect Overeem to be doing a lot of work up against the cage. You've seen a lot of that in his recent fights. Work his clinch. And Overeem even has a very, very underrated ground game. You might see him take this fight to the ground. But yeah, I think this is a typical guys 4-0 in the UFC. Have him fight a borderline gatekeeper he thinks he could still fight for a title. I think he's crazy. See what happens. I'm going Overeem to get the job done here. Very rare. I pick him at this stage in his career, but I don't think Sakai, Augusto, whatever, is that good. Mike, Chris, fuck.
Asshole. No, dude, I think that I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I thought Overeem the whole week. Like, actually, I don't know what Mike said. I don't remember his pick, but I know you had said Sakai. And in my head, I was like, damn, I'm definitely gonna ride with Overeem. Like Mike said, 2-2 in the UFC, in my book, and I think in obviously Mike's book as well. Arlovsky and who was it? Blagoy. He went to split decisions with. Those are guys in this exact same position. They gave him those fights to knock them out, win the fight, get a bigger name. Now they're trying to use Overeem for that. Dude, Overeem just ate – who was his last fight? Walt Harris. He just ate everything he had to offer and then, just pulled out his vet savvy and won that fight in the second round. Overeem just seems like that fucking heavyweight that will not die. He just keeps on winning fucking fights. And I think that this line is super tricky. Overeem is the favorite. It's super tempting. It seems like, I think he's going to win. But this is one of those fights where it's like the UFC clearly is trying to put Sakai over here. If you go on their website, he's on the homepage. So it's like they're trying to put Sakai over, the small underdog. Does he get the win? But I think that I don't think he has enough power to put Overeem away, although Overeem's chin has been he's been put away plenty of times. I think Overeem withstands this test as well and makes somewhat of a small run again at heavyweight. Not saying he's going to be, fighting for the belt or anything like that, but I'll be watching the main event.
No, I was on Overeem all week as well. It's just like for Overeem, this is a huge step down, in my opinion, to every fight that he's been in ever since he's been in the UFC, or at all. He's always fighting killers. And then, I agree, the UFC is definitely trying to put over Sakai, but I'm sorry, Sakai, you lost against Arlovsky and you lost against Ivanov. And I feel like when he doesn't get the momentum he needs in his fights, he kind of doesn't know what to do. I'm not going to say he gets scared or timid, but he definitely doesn't have that veteran savvy that Overeem has to just adjust. And that's huge. And I think the experience is going to be a huge factor in this fight. As long as Overeem doesn't get clipped on the chin, he's going to win. And I think he's going to win emphatically. What's up, guys? Any other talking points? We just crushed it, baby.
I think after this fight, they should do Overeem Ngannou too.
Mm-hmm. No.
Just bring his soul back down from heaven, stick it into his body, and run it back. No, nothing. No Bellator news to report. I really hope PFL and Juan and these guys get back on track soon too. I mean, the world just got to come back. It's enough's enough at this point.
Dude, I literally can't do this anymore. The gym's just opened up, thank God, over here in Jersey. Indoor dining in a couple days, actually 2 days from now. If they pull this bullshit second wave nonsense and shut down sports again and shut down everything, I'm going to shut myself down. So, like Chris said, hopefully those promotions get back to normal too, because I can't do this shit anymore.
You see what Kirk Cousins had to do?
No.
It was
I saw an update on my phone.
I'll tell you about it right now.
Let's hear it.
I'll give it to you in 30 seconds.
Please.
Back in July, he was on a podcast. He's just like, I wear the mask out of respect for everybody, but I believe in survival of the fittest. He's just basically saying coronavirus is a sham. And then he obviously someone must have reached out to him. Some PR person behind him was like, listen, you got to go and make a statement and release it to the public about your insensitive comments and all this fucking bullshit.
Oh.
I'm like, did he make an apology?
It wasn't I don't want to call it an apology what he just released, but it was just I should have chose my words more carefully and been more empathetic about people who had coronavirus and all that shit. And then people on ESPN Sports Center, and they're saying he should have made those comments and shit like that. It's if you literally can't open your mouth anymore if it goes against what the media says. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into this just because I would rather not lose all of our listeners at once. But last week, the Bears had to distance themselves from Brian Urlacher for something he said about that whole Jacob Blake thing. And then I went on his Instagram and I read what he said. I was like, there's nothing wrong with this statement. There's just a very sensitive group of people that don't like it. And that group of people just happens to be the loudest group of people. And the fact that they had the Chicago Bears, Brian Urlacher's fucking one of the best players ever, Hall of Fame, the whole shit. they have to distance themselves from him for something that he said. And they said it was racially insensitive. I read it. It couldn't have been less racially insensitive if they tried. I hate how this world is so cookie cutter now, and you have to fucking walk on thin ice with everything you say. You can't have an opinion anymore. It's so crazy. And this whole Kirk Cousins thing today, Mike, I didn't see what you said he said. All I saw was a headline that said, and it was his quote. He said, "If I die, I die." And I'm like, you know what? I feel you, because I feel the same way. I'm not about to live my life in fear. The CDC came out with this report like a couple days ago that basically said, yeah, we bullshitted all the COVID deaths since day one. Only like 6% of people died from COVID. And of course, it's just not in the news because it doesn't play into the narrative that they want to feed us. Nonetheless, people lost their lives. People lost their businesses for basically a brutal version of the cold. You don't like it? Sorry. It's not wrong. It's
what you said, Matt, it's just a like cookie cutter world. I think that's what's cool about MMA is it's the complete opposite. Everyone's so fucking unique. Everyone's so fucking different. Dana White clearly doesn't give a shit.
Doesn't give a fuck.
UFC Vegas, baby. Let's do it.
Yo, I will turn gay for Dana White, man. I love him, man.
I already am, but it's okay.
Bro, he's got the biggest no bullshit attitude out there. He's the Roger Goodell of the UFC. That's him. That's his job. Look how he conducts himself. Look the shit he says and he does and says to reporters. He could not be more brutally honest if you try. He's getting on the stage with RNC, for Christ's sake, rallying people to vote for Trump. Like, there is no he's the definition of I don't give a shit what you think. I'm going to say and do exactly how I feel all times, and I respect the hell out of that.
Hashtag fuck bloody elbow.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, everyone. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. Be well, love this sport, and say no to drugs.
Like, comment, subscribe.
All right, see you next time.